Yesterday's deadly attack on Eastern Europe's busiest airport, Moscow's Domodedovo, well, the suicide bombing killed at least 35 people. Russian investigators are still trying to find out who is responsible. No one has claimed credit at this point. Well, Russian stocks have continued to drop today, falling to a 2-week low. And joining me now to talk about what the attack means for investing in Russia is Paul Saffo. Paul is the managing director of Foresight at Discern, which provides research for institutional investors. And Paul joins us now from our San Francisco bureau. Paul, it wasn't that long ago you were on. I don't remember the exact date, but it has to be in the last month you were on. We were talking about investment opportunities opening up in sort of an unusual area, the Russian Arctic. And of course, one of the conversations, or one of the topics we discussed then, were these terrorist attacks or geopolitical stability in that region. Has what happened yesterday impacted any of your forecast or the way you feel about investing in that area?
The attacks really don't change how one views investing in Russia. You know, the posture of the Russian people, I think, is the attacks were shocking but not surprising. That Russia has had a history over the last decade of several dramatic terrorist attacks per year. This will be the fourth in a year and a half. And last May, they had 5 attacks in a week that killed 60 people. So everybody's shocked, but this, unfortunately, is the new normal in Russia. So investment impacts so far and looking ahead, unless something really changes, is just not that great. Russia's a scary but profitable place. You know, Paul, as you say that,
we have seen a little bit of a reaction in terms of the MISEX, in terms of publicly traded companies. But, as far as foreign direct investment is concerned, this happened, I think it was on the eve that we saw President Medvedev planning to go to Davos, where he will be. We know that he will be there. I'm not sure if he continues to be signed on as the keynote speaker, but one of the primary motivations behind his appearance was to talk about how safe it is to invest in Russia. How do you think that will now factor into the conversations at Davos?
Well, this will definitely be talked about in the hallways at Davos, and it is a black eye for Medvedev that he's unable to open the Davos meeting. But again, I think that investors and policymakers who are at Davos feel a little bit like the Russian people, shocked but not surprised. Everybody knows this is an ongoing problem.
I wanted to quickly wrap up, Paul, to talk to you about 2 big events that could be impacted, or certainly questions I think will now, or it's likely to affect the outcome of these things. There's a 2012 election and the 2014 Olympics in the Sochi area, which is not far from that North Caucasus area, which many say is where you're finding a lot of these terrorists originating.
Absolutely. And the impact on the elections will be significant. This is going to make the opposition even more vocal than they've already been, while at the same time making the government even more determined to crack down on dissent. So I think it's going to be a nasty election cycle. I also suspect this makes it much more likely that Putin will run for president and that Medvedev will step to the side. They haven't made an official announcement, but Putin heads the Russia party. He is more hard-line and a traditional Russian strongman. And in a period like this, I think people are going to say they want a strongman in. So if I had to bet, I would bet Putin would run, and of course, Putin will win.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul. We got to unfortunately stop there, but I would love to have you back on this show. Obviously, Russia, big topic of conversation for investors these days. Thanks so much. That was Paul Saffo, Managing Director of Discern.